Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Simon Eddles. It's lovely to see you all again, especially those of you who have come to lots of our webinars before. I'm delighted to welcome you this afternoon to Travel Bulletin's latest training webinar, Andalusia Live. Today, we will learn how Andalusia is preparing to welcome British visitors back to this amazing part of the world following the COVID-19 pandemic. We're going to be joined by a panel of experts who will each share their unique insight into everything that Andalusia has to offer in terms of sun and beach holidays, also city breaks, in terms of nature and activity opportunities, along with all the latest protocols from the airports as well. The webinar will be packed with information, so I can assure you, you'll know everything that you need to know about selling trips to Andalusia by the end of it. I do want you to take care in terms of joining us for the Q&A session later on, but do put your questions into our Q&A function as usual as we go along. I'm going to be talking to people about the various things that we want to know, but also we're going to have a Q&A section at the end. And if we got your questions, then I can put them to the specialists at the end of the webinar. Finally, we're going to get 5 lucky winners are going to win a place on a 3-day fam trip to Andalusia, taking place hopefully later this year. This amazing trip will include all flights. It'll include accommodation, breakfast, lunch, dinner, along with some fantastic excursions as well. Make sure you stay focused throughout the webinar, as 2 of the places will actually be won instantly later on during this very webinar. The other 3 places will be up for grabs by submitting your answers to a couple of very different questions via the Travel Bulletin website, and you'll have until Monday afternoon, so 5 days to enter that once the webinar has finished. Okay, so that's my little intro. That's the exciting stuff that we have to look forward to. Now it's time to welcome the first of today's panelists. So it's my great pleasure to introduce Javier Pinanes, the director of the Spanish Tourist Office. Welcome, Javier.
Thank you very much. I'm fine.
Okay. Can I ask you, as a way to get things started, how do you see holidays restarting to Spain?
Well, first of all, please, my most sincere word of welcome to the British tourism industry, tour operators, travel agents. Thank you very much for participants in this webinar. I would like to thank also to my colleagues and friends from Andalusia, Antonio Martín Machuca, Jesús Caballero, Daniel Navarro, Manuel Otero, and Beltrán de Ceballos, and of course, also to thank you, Simon, Janet, Hannah, and the Travel Bulletin team for your good job helping us to organize this webinar. So regarding your question, I see that with optimism. Everything depends logically on both sides, no? The British market and the Spanish destinations. No? We have excellent news here in UK, that's very clear, with fantastic progress on vaccination. But it's true that there are also important uncertainties after the Global Travel Task Force report of last April 9th, no? Regarding dates to begin the international travel and regarding list of green, amber, and red countries in the traffic light system. So the good news in Spain is that the state of alarm will probably end on May 9th. And we are doing good progress to be absolutely ready and committed to welcome British tourists as soon as possible.
Okay, well, that's very positive message. Thank you very much for that. You mentioned that things have become quite positive here in terms of our progress. How is progress, or how is the vaccination process progressing in Spain?
Well, I think we are advancing step by step with a steady program, progressing very well, especially in these last weeks. Our Prime Minister, Mr. Pedro Sánchez, explained last April 6th after the cabinet's meeting, that the roadmap is to have 5 million people fully vaccinated, therefore with the 2 jabs by May the 3rd, 10 million people the first week of June, 25 million by July 19th, and 33 million at the end of August. That means 70% of the adult population. Spain, in fact, is one of the 3 countries in Europe with a higher rhythm of vaccination in these last weeks.
Fantastic. Well, that appears as though you've got a very positive plan. The country has a very positive plan for vaccination as well. Something like this particular webinar, the Andalusia LIVE Webinar, how important is that for understanding of the product?
Well, as you know, Andalusia is one of the preferred destinations for the British travelers, no? So I think that that's a fantastic, unique opportunity to learn how Andalusia is preparing to welcome British tourists back and to know everything that this nice region has to offer, no? Sand and beach, city breaks, nature, open spaces, biodiversity, and so on, no? And also what's new in airport protocols, hotels, attractions, COVID travel insurance, restrictions to be aware. So that's very important. I'm convinced that this webinar will be very useful for all of you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much indeed for your insights and your information, Javier. We're really looking forward to hearing about everything Andalusia has to offer British tourists in the coming months. So let's whet our appetite by watching a short video which showcases this amazing destination. Wonderful. Okay, that was a fantastic video. Now we can't wait to learn more about this fantastic region. So let's introduce our next and second panelist, Antonio Machuca, the head of marketing for the Andalusia Tourist Board for the UK market. Very good to see you, Antonio. Are you well? And I please tell us that you're looking forward to this.
Yeah. Great to see you as well, Simon. I'm very well and happy to be here with all of you. And please let me thank our different partners, the Spanish Tourist Office in London, first of all, Javier Pinanes and Agustin Garcia, and of course, all the panelists we are having here today, all of them good friends of mine. And thank you, of course, to Travel Bulletin as well, and of course, to all the audience that we have. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you here. Good to see you. Please do tell us, people are eager to know what's happening and what's new in terms of Andalusia and what we can expect this summer.
Well, I would say that the good thing is that hopefully we will get back to the normality of the summer. And of course, it will be a different one and something new with regards last year. I mean, it's not going to be the same as we had back in 2019, which it was a record year for us in terms of visitors, but for sure it's going to be a good summer. Every hotel and restaurant will reopen, as well as all the activities you can experience here in the destination, such as gastronomy, culture, museums, riding horses, flamenco, wine routes, sand and beach holidays, golf, or even bird watching. I mean, we have a lot to offer. And for this, and I believe that the air connectivity is key to recover the industry. And we are aware that most of the air companies are prepared with traditional and new routes to our 5 airports in Andalusia. As you know, the traffic between the UK and Andalusia is fantastic, is huge. So we are very confident.
Good, I'm glad to hear it. We appreciate, obviously, the situation does change day by day almost. As it stands currently, are there any general COVID restrictions that we should be aware of in Andalusia?
Yes, Simon, yes. At this particular moment, we do have some restrictions in the region. Andalusia remain closed and travel is not allowed between provinces within the region either. And you cannot travel unless it is essential. For example, if you go for a meeting, business, or taking care of relatives. But this is not affecting international travelers arriving to our airports with a PCR or antigen test. There is also curfew from 11 p.m. until 6 a.m. in Andalusia. There is a meeting limitation as well in restaurants, 6 people outdoors and 4 indoors. Restaurants and shopping centers can be open until 10:30. In level 2 in different cities, for example, in Seville, we are at the moment in level 3, which means that everything closes at 8 p.m. But everything will be revised soon, and weekly they do this revise, the local government, and they have the new measures. Another important issue, which is mask. Mask is mandatory at any time, not only in Andalusia, but in Spain as well. There's a penalty of 100 euros if you're not wearing it, and it is not mandatory when you are in the beach. But if you go for a walk in the beach, you have to wear it. Another important issue is that from 9th May, the state of alarm in Spain will be over. So it seems that everything will get back to normal, but with under a few local restrictions. But that's something that we're gonna know and learn after 9th May. For example, I'm sure that by that time, you still will have to wear a cover face. We also have a prepared area at 2 airports in Andalusia, Malaga and Seville, to do PCR or antigen test. But I prefer to leave this to Jesus Caballero, the director of Seville Airport, and he will explain this later to all of you.
Okay. There's one other particularly important message I know that you're keen to explain to people in terms of the travel insurance consideration. So this is particularly important for Andalusia. So please tell us what that situation is.
We think this is a really good issue within for international travelers. We have put together a free international travel insurance from 1st of January until the 31st of December 2021 with a huge amount of investment. So the coverage is excellent. And this insurance is just for foreign tourists, non-residents traveling to Andalusia and with accommodation in a regulated and official establishment. So The purpose is to provide insurance cover for COVID-19 if an international visitor gets infected when they are here on holidays. And there's a few different covers, like there's no age of limit. We provide isolation during a period of time. We also provide medical expenses like surgical, pharmaceutical, and hospitalization as well due to the COVID-19. And all this covered up to 4,000 euros and medical repatriation as well. So we believe this will give confidence and safety to the people. And I will be more than happy to send details and information to our audience here, to all the travel agencies later on. So I think that's it, Simon. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Antonio. I know that part of the or some further information on that travel insurance will be sent out to all the people who've joined in after the webinar as well. So look forward to that. Sorry.
Please, before I leave, and I now pass the floor to you, of course, again, and the rest of our panel of experts. And before I leave, I just wanted to say happy birthday to the Queen of England, of the UK.
That's great. Thank you very much. Thank you for your great introduction to Andalusia, Antonio, and we look forward to seeing you again later on in the webinar.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now it's time to focus on what tourists should expect when they first arrive at the airport. Here to help us understand this a little bit better is Jesus Caballero Pinto, the director of Seville Airport. Hello and welcome, Jesus.
Thank you very much, Simon, for having me here and to giving us the opportunity to explain all measures that we have been putting in place to increase the travel experience for British traveler in Andalusia airports.
Fantastic. Well, on that very subject, please tell us what British travelers can expect when they arrive in the Andalusian airports.
Well, the first things, after the last year, when the first lockdown finished, all airports in Spain and Andalusia airport, we put in place all measures in terms of safety and health, following the recommendation from the European Aviation Safety Agency and the European Center for Disease Prevention and Control. These are more than 40 measures, and the main line of action of this measure, because it is going to affect all process in the airport, is implementation of a 1.5 meter of safety distancing, social distancing. So you are a passenger going to see on the floor the mark to follow the social distancing, and remain in the terminal, as my colleagues have been mentioning before, wearing the face mask and sanitizing and hand sanitizing, and capacity limitation in all areas to avoid crowded areas. I mean, toilet or elevator boarding areas. So there are going to be capacity limitation to avoid this crowded, and everything is going to be contactless, toilet and so on, to avoid contact surface and so on. And you're going to see a screen between passenger and airport staff to avoid contact between each other, hydrogel dispenser all around the airport, and recollocation furniture of benches to facilitate queuing and while respecting spacing. We are reopening commercial areas, that's a restaurant, VIP lounge, or a shop, when the air connectivity is going to we are expecting to increase in the summer campaign. And reinforcing the cleaning and the air renovation, of course, in the building terminal. And passengers are going to show the boarding card, the boarding pass, before access to the terminal to avoid crowded areas in the public areas. And once you arrive to Andalusia airport, you're going to have a primary sanitary control and a secondary sanitary control. And in addition to all these measures, we are launching in May a campaign to increase the visibility of our staff in airport. Our staff are going to wear a green jacket with the COVID protection logo. So passengers are going to feel comfortable because they are going to have our staff helping whatever information of doubt that they have during the process in the airport. So the objective that we want to achieve is the passenger feel comfortable when they pass through the Andalusia airport. And as the other country, the authority sanitary in Spain, in addition to all these health measures that have been mentioned, the Ministry of Sanitary added the requirement of negative PCR test carried out 72 hours in advance for passenger for country considered at risk, following the traffic light system that Javier mentioned before in the presentation. But as you may know, European Union has announced the Green Digital Certificate. It's going to be very important because the Spanish government want to be this green certificate, the digital certificate. We want to be ready in Spain by the summer campaign, by June. So this is going to be very fast and quick and more comfortable when you pass through the Andalusia airport, because you can certify that you are vaccinated, or you have been vaccinated, or you have a negative PCR, or you already passed the COVID-19. So with this green digital certificate, everything is going to be easy. So you pass the control, you go to the baggage reclaim lounge, and you leave the airport.
Okay, in terms of that, will you need to fill in any forms before you arrive or as you depart from the destination?
Now, this is a very important question, Simon, because until the digital green certificate is available in June, passengers need to fill in passenger located form. This is very similar that other countries are requiring for entry to the country. So this is easy because when you are booking a flight in the airline website, this form is going to come out. So once you complete the form, you can print it, or you can save in your mobile phone. And this is a QR code. So once you arrive to the airport, you are going to see a primary control. So you pass your QR code through the reader, and you pass it. Everything is okay. You complete the form, you pass, you go to the baggage reclaim lounge and leave the airport. But in the primary sanitary control, the temperature is going to be taken automatically by thermographical camera. So if the camera detects fever or any other suspicious symptom, so you pass to the secondary sanitary control, where the medical staff is going to assess the state of health of the passenger, and they are going to do a new COVID test. And if there is any suspicion, so we are going to transfer passenger to the health center, and coordinating with the sanitary regional government. And this is when you arrive to the airport, like when you finish your holidays in Andalusia and you are departing to UK, UK is requiring other information. So when you get to the airport, so you have to show the boarding card. So you pass to the terminal building, you go to the check-in counter, and then the airline is going to ask you the information required by UK. And when you go to the boarding gate, maybe you are going to be to ask to show this information requiring by UK government. And more or less, this is a summary. A summary of
I understand. There's a lot of we're already getting a lot of questions in, which we'll deal with, I'm sure, when we get to the Q&A section at the end, because people are asking about how that's going to extend the times that you need people to check in. All of these things are going to have an impact, depending on the numbers of travelers. We know that the airports in Andalusia are busy. Malaga is normally an especially busy airport. So one would imagine that all of these things will have an effect, but we'll come to that later. Let me ask one more question for the time being. In terms of the airport is obviously, the airports have different flights coming in from all over the world. So the vast majority of those flights may be coming from other countries within Europe or within Spain itself. However, there will be flights coming in from outside Europe. And how are you managing to sort of keep, are you planning to keep people apart in zones depending on which areas they're coming from?
This is a very good question, Simon, and this is something that we are very concerned about because of the recovering the air traffic connectivity and third country flight coming this summer season. For example, in Seville Airport, we are actually extending the terminal. We are transforming the airport. And this is the biggest transformation in the last 30 years. And we just, last year in November, we put in service a new non-European arrival area with more capacity. And we have been put in place new equipment, ABC system. And this is going to be automatically with biometrical and facial recognition. This is a contactless process. This is good for this, for the COVID, and it's going to be faster. It's a passport control document faster, and this is something that is going to be available in Costa del Sol. But this is the first thing that this passenger, like British traveler, are going to see in the Andalusia airport. It's going to be the passport control check. So we are very focused in this area to be prepared to have enough capacity and to comply with the recommendation following the aviation agency. So everything is going to be prepared with more resources and more equipment with biometrical and facial recognition to achieve these objectives, contactless process and faster process. And the other thing is in Malaga, as Antonio mentioned before, in the largest airport in Andalusia, like Malaga and Seville, we have clinic to do PCR tests. And it's going to be easy because you can book an appointment via web with the travelcovidtestcenter.com. And the test results are sent by email in less than 20 minutes in case of antigen test and less than 10 hours in case of PCR test. The cost is for antigen test is 28 euros around, and the cost for a PCR test is around 58 euros.
Okay, well that's good. That I'm sure we'll come back to the cost element again because it's worth reiterating that later on. But thank you very much for all of that information, Jesus, and we look forward to seeing you again later during the Q&A session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, it's now time to turn our thoughts and discussions to the sun and beach holiday market in Andalusia. Do remember, if you have questions, keep them coming in via the Q&A facility. I'm not going to be asking them probably now, although you may get the answers you're after anyway. But we will be asking them again later during the Q&A session that we have later on. It's great to introduce Daniel Navarro, the director of the Huelva Tourist Board. Daniel, are you well?
Hello, Simon. First of all, thank you very much for your invitation, for your introduction, and thanks to my rest of colleagues from the Spanish Tourist Office in London, Javier, Pinanes, and my good friend Agustin, long time ago we met, and my colleagues from Andalusia Tourist Board. I'm very special for the travel agencies that are interested in staying in this discussion panel. Well, I'm really very happy because of this discussion now, because this interest for the British people, for the British travelers to wish to travel again to Andalusia, and of course to my destination in Huelva especially, but why not to the rest of Andalusia, because I am talking now in the name of all of my Andalusian colleagues. No? We wish everyone to finish with this. We are looking for the light at the end of the tunnel, and we think that this is finishing. We are getting the end, but it's really getting very, very difficult, like everybody knows. We hope, like Javier Pinanes said before, and Antonio, at the end of on the 9th of May, Spain will be finished with this state of alarm, state of very difficult situation. And it's really unfortunately for everybody who is happening after this, no? Because we don't know really if everything is going to start again like before this state. But we would like to think very positive. We will like to think that a lot of thousands of people in Spain will be vaccinated, and that should be very important for the rest of the high season in summer, for like the first high season that we have. You know, we have been closing all our offer. We are closing actually, and probably will be open again at the middle of May, the end of May, not later, no, in order to stay absolutely prepared for the beginning of Jan to start to receive so many national tourism, and we hope to get here a lot of British people too.
Okay, well, we're looking forward to coming as well. We're desperate. I was supposed to be there a year ago at Easter, and then this Easter, and now I had to rebook. So I'm looking forward to it myself. On behalf of the people watching, the agents watching, they're keen to find out what steps that you've taken to protect tourists in terms of the beach, but also you have to wear a mask, where you don't have to wear a mask. What are the social distancing rules? If you can sum up a little bit on those, Daniel, that would be helpful.
Well, I can tell you exactly from now. I told you before, we don't know exactly what will happen after 9th of May. But we hope that for that time, for this summer, we'll be in the same restriction more or less like summer. That means that you need to go to the beach with wearing your mask till you arrive to your stay, to your umbrella, where you have to stay without mask. You can stay all day if you want without mask. Only if you go to have a walk along the beach. If you go along the beach, you need to wear your mask all the day. You go to swimming, you don't need it. You stay in your umbrella, you don't need it. But only if you're going to make for a walk in our longest beaches, you need to wear your mask. That's very important for everybody, because if it's not, you can get a penalty. That we don't like to give this message, but that's the reason that we have at the moment. Probably, I think that for this summer will be the same, like we are now.
Okay, we must emphasize here that whatever Daniel says, whatever any of our specialists, experts say with regards to the protocols, they can't be 100% sure, because until it's announced on the 9th of May what the new plan is, we're judging things on what has happened last year. Is that right?
Yes, well, we think that from last year it was very similar, that the condition that we have for this one. You know, we need to know that we are trying to get very good control with all the people we have in the beaches. Fortunately, okay, we have absolutely longest beaches in our destination. That permit you to stay in a place under your umbrella, in a long distance you will have another one. This is not really a very many people destination where everybody is together in the same beach at all the moment. If you talk about Huelva, we have more than 120 kilometers of beaches. In all of this, more than 80 kilometers are absolutely virgin and protected beaches. That means that we have many kilometers of beaches. The same way you have in many other beaches in the region of Andalusia, in Huelva to Almeria, and the Costa de Luz in the area of Cádiz is very similar. The area of Almeria is very similar too. Then we have very good conditions in order to get many people in the beaches, but you have a long distance between all of them.
Okay. When customers are in their traditional sort of resorts, whether they're in hotels or around the pools or in the common areas of the hotels, are the hotels reducing occupancy? And what is the situation with regards to the common areas, whether it's the pool or in the lobby, or what's likely to be the protocol there?
Well, I say you like before. At the moment, in the hotels, in the common areas, we have around 50% of capacity, and they are trying to control all this situation in order to get very good control. And at the moment, we will have 50% of capacity in common areas inside. What happened after 9th of May? We really nowadays we don't know. But probably some restrictions will have. But at the moment, this is what we have. If you are in open air states, the capacity is bigger, like in terrace, in the restaurants, in bars. We have now around 100% of capacity in an open air, around 75% inside of the restaurants and bars.
Okay, well, that's good, because everyone needs to be able to make some money as well when they're running a restaurant or a bar. So that's good.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm sure we're going to get more questions on that, Daniel. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for all of your very clear and precise answers. We'll see you a bit later on for the panel discussion, but thank you again to you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, it's now time to look at the city breaks market in Andalusia. So I'm delighted to introduce Manuel Otero, the owner and director of Hotel Inglaterra in Seville. Welcome, Manuel. Are you with us? He is.
Yes. Hello.
Hello, Manuel. Please tell us about the situation with you. We know that city and cultural breaks in Spain are ever popular with British tourists. How will local attractions work, such as museums and galleries and shows?
Yes. Hello, everyone from Seville. In this week that we should be in Feria, the famous Feria of Seville, that for the second year we don't have it. And first of all, I would like to start with a message of confidence, because we have a normal life. And the Spanish Association was the first professional sector that 1 year ago prepared the COVID sanitary protocol. So we are absolutely ready. In Andalusia, we are living almost a normal life, almost, with all the restrictions that my colleagues mentioned before. Until 9th of May, that the all limitation will end, but we don't know what will happen then.
Okay, with regards to that, in terms of your banks, shops, bars and restaurants, are they similar to the protocols we were hearing about from Daniel?
Yes, everything is open. Currently, everything is working with apparent normality. Only bar and restaurant have a limit time for close, and it is depend of the city and the sanitary condition in this moment. And
okay,
the time, the close is between 8 and 10:30, depending on the sanitary conditions in each place. But the rest of the life is almost normal. Yes.
Okay, sorry. What is the situation with public transport around the cities too? Is that normal? Are there certain restrictions on numbers? And can you go from one city to another? Can you go from Malaga to Seville?
The public transport are working with normality, and if you have to move to one city to another, you need a reason, work reasons, medical reasons, and important reasons to move. Indeed, there are not police control, but you cannot do it, and if of course you have a penalty if you found a police control in the middle, but you cannot move in between the cities.
And is that something that may change on the 9th of May?
That's what we don't know, because really we cannot plan for more than 15 days, because every 15 days the sanitary expert change the rules and the situation of each city depending of the health situation of each country. So we know now the rules till the 9th. We know that after the 9th we can move into the cities because this restriction will be finished. This is sure. So I can next 9 I can go to the beach, for example. Right, like in Seville. Yeah.
Okay, well that's very helpful. Thank you very much. We look forward to. I've already got questions coming in about what we've just been speaking about. So thank you for your help on that and all that information, Manuel. We look forward to seeing you a little later on. We're now going to introduce our fourth and final expert. This is Beltran de Ceballos, who is representing the Natural History Tourism Guides in Andalusia and is also the owner of Plegades. Beltran, tell us, I know you are, I understand from one of my colleagues that you've been out at a fish farm this morning. Tell us more about the natural spaces outside and what we have to look forward to.
Well, first of all, thank you, Simon, and thanks everybody to join us, and thank to you for inviting me. Yes, I'm in a fish farm, but fish farms here in Spain, I am in 1,000 hectares surface fish farms, and I am surrounded by flocks and flocks of flamingos. So that's the way we make fish farms in Andalusia. Well, first of all, I want to tell to our audience that Andalusia for nature in Europe is the best region in terms of biodiversity and in terms of percentage of surface under protected nature conservation. Andalusia has at least 36% of its surface protected by national parks and regional parks, and I can mention Doñana as the jewel of the crown, or Sierra Nevada, which comes up to 3,500 meters over the sea level. Apart from that, we have Sierra Morena, we have the deserts in Almeria, or the Strait of Gibraltar, or things like a big lagoon like Fuente de Piedra with no less than 15,000 pairs of flamingos breeding. In these protected areas, we can watch and we can enjoy unique fauna and flora for Europe, like is the Iberian lynx, or like is the imperial eagle, or like the lammergeier, or thousands of species of butterflies or dragonflies or wildflowers of something. I'm very close to the Strait of Gibraltar, and we can enjoy here orca whales chasing and hunting red tuna fins in front of the beaches. So we are in a very special region, and I have no doubt to say that it's the best region of Europe for wildfowl. And something I want to mention is that every destination for sun and beach that my friends and colleagues, they have mentioned, or cities, they have very close to them one of these open species. You don't need to move province. I mean, if you are in Malaga, you have Sierra de Malaga. If you are in Granada, you have Sierra Nevada. If you are in Córdoba, you have Sierra Morena. If you are in Huelva, you have Aracenas or Sierra de Aracena, with the biggest dehesas in Spain, where we breed the black-leg pig that produces, as you well know, the best jamón in the world. So if you are in a big city, or you are in a beach, no less than an hour by car, you have one of these wonderful open spaces to enjoy.
I'm sure that many of our viewers are keen to send their clients to you. Tell us, is there or are there any specific protocols that have been introduced to prevent the spread of sort of COVID-19 in your specific areas?
Well, I mean, as my colleagues have said, we have a specific and we have, direct protocols in terms of normal use of our lives. I mean, the timing, the groups, the number of people that can join together, etc., and the masks, and again the masks, and again the masks, and again the masks. But when you are in an open space, Obviously, you have to be extremely careful. We all know we have to be extremely careful. So obviously, we have specific protocols. But I am representing to the Association of Professional Bird, Wildlife and Natural History Guides of Andalusia. And we are in close relation to Manolo, and we are in close relation, accommodations and restaurants. I mean, the idea is we all know what are we talking about. We all know what we are doing, and we all know how careful we have to be. So specifically in terms of natural history tourism, I mean, we organize the groups of the expeditions according mainly to the transports, the number of sites that the vehicle has got. So that's the most important thing, because once you are outside, I mean, obviously you have to be careful, but the whole thing doesn't seem to become so tricky is where you are inside.
Yes, I think that the majority of the majority of what you're saying is that you've got an outside area where everyone is a lot more in the open. They're enjoying the wildlife, they're enjoying nature, and it's more about the common sense that people will operate in terms of the transport to get them there. And then once they're there, they will follow common sense guidelines according to their masks and social distancing, as they would anywhere else.
Well, regulations are what they are. I mean, you have to take your duties. You have to. Regulations are what they are in accommodation, in restaurants, and I mean, the number of groups can be 6, can be 4, whatever. And obviously, you have to behave yourself. And we all know what we have to do. But what I want, I mean, the message that I want to say to our audience is that I mean, I don't like so much shadows. I mean, Andalusia is light, is open spaces, is wildlife, is nature, and I mean, the destinations of big cities and sun of beaches, they are absolutely perfect. But the thing is that lots of things to enjoy in Andalusia, and I know especially how the British market is very, very keen on wildlife. They are very keen on birding. They are very keen on wildflowers. They are very keen on butterflies. And my message is that Andalusia is very well prepared, very well organized, because our local guides are very well prepared to be the true leaders for safety, not just in health terms of I mean, not in just health speaking. In all once you are in the countryside, you can enjoy the real Andalusia, you can enjoy the natural food, you can enjoy the genuine people, the landscape, and I mean, mind you, we are a third of the Iberian Peninsula and lots of lovely things to offer, obviously being extremely keen on COVID measurements. But we are working under the label of Andalusia Segura, which is something that the tourist body, the official tourist body of Andalusia is looking after, and I mean, keeping us informed, and it's a network of accommodation, restoration, and guides and wildlife guiding, or cultural guiding all together.
It sounds as though you have obviously lots of things covered. It would be great to get British tourists back, not only enjoying the cities, enjoying the beaches, as you say, but also coming to enjoy all of the outside and natural history areas that you offer, because I think there's a huge growth possibility there for you as well. So encouragement from you. Thank you very much for your information, Beltran. I'm sure lots of viewers didn't realize how much Andalusia has to offer in terms of biodiversity and nature conversation as well. Please stay on the screen, because we're going to invite everyone else back to join us for the Q&A session. Okay, everyone, I've got lots of questions for you. I'm going to start, if I may. Welcome, everyone. I'm just waiting for a couple more of you to open up on your cameras, and then we will start. Okay. Okay, I have a question, first of all, for Jesus, please, if possible. Do you expect check-in times will be extended in terms of the airport to cope with all the changes?
Mm-hmm. Well, the most important thing is to follow the instruction given by the airlines. So because in the boarding card, the boarding pass, you are going to see the time that you have to show in the check-in desk, on the boarding gate. So the most important thing is to follow the airlines recommendation and instruction. But for this summer campaign, we are adding capacity and adding resources to have a seamless process, a comfortable process in Andalusia airport. And we not in the check-in process, it's going to be, or we need to extend the time. Maybe when you arrive to the airport, as I mentioned before, we have the primary sanitary control, and we need to check the information required by the sanitary authority of Spain. So could be a queue, but we are adding more capacity, more resources to avoid this queue and crowded area. So we don't think that we are not, if we need to extend the check-in time, we are going to avoid it, adding resources.
Okay, well, that's very helpful. I think that what you're saying is all of the individual airlines and everyone will be able to inform people once it gets going as to what they're likely to expect in terms of timings, and they will be able to help.
And being prepared, every information that is required by the government or by the sanitary authorities. Once you go to the check-in counter, if you have every information prepared, just prepare in front of the check-in, everything is going to be quickly and fast. So this is be prepared and have everything in hand in the airport.
Fantastic. That was Tony Byrne who asked that question. So I'm sure Tony's been to Spain a few times. I'm sure he will be looking forward to coming back to Andalusia as soon as he can, and indeed sending people there as well. I would like to ask Antonio, if I may, I've got Becky Clark who asks, what facilities will there be to make it easy for people to take a test prior to returning home? Is it only via the airport, or are there other places they will be able to take tests?
Yeah, I mean, of course, at the airport, as we mentioned before, Malaga and Seville, there's a few airports appointed here in Spain, and there are different private clinics or laboratory that you can get an antigen test, also the PCR, and prices are for a PCR is about 60 euros, and for an antigen test is around 35 euros. And of course, you can do that, no problem at all.
Okay, this is a more difficult question to answer, I think. I'm going to ask Beltran this because I think he may be able to give us some help on it. This is from Helen Nelson. Her company organizes group walking holidays. Is she restricted to the number of size for a group, outdoor organized events?
Well, mind you, at the very right moment, the group is reduced to 6 people, all right? But times 6 people. You know, I hope you know what I mean. I mean, it's times 6 people. It's 6 people plus 6 people, 3 times 6 people, I think is 18 people. Okay,
so I won't question your maths. Your maths seems very good. I think that the only thing I would say, so if she organized a group of 18 people, as long as they were split into 3 groups of 6 for the activities, that would work. Is that right?
Yeah, but as I told you before, I mean, the main thing is the vehicle. So if you go 16 people or 8 people, you cannot go in a van for 18 people. You have to go in a bus for 50 people.
Yes. Okay. So it's about understanding the space within that. Okay, I understand.
Yeah, but I mean, through Turismo Andaluz, you will get the information and you will get the proper company to help you.
Okay. Could I ask? I don't know. I'm going to ask you, Antonio. This I've got Ailish Lachlan who's asking, what proof is there? What proof are the authorities wanting to see if someone is exempt from wearing a mask?
What do you mean by a proof?
Okay, so over if you're traveling in the UK and you are traveling on a train, and you suffer from something which means that you don't have to wear a mask, then you don't have to prove it straight away. Is that the same in Spain?
Yeah, I guess here you need to have some kind of a certificate which will prove that you are able not to wear a mask. I mean, I know. I mean, I have one of one in my family, one of my cousins. He has a problem, and he has always a certificate with him, and he's not wearing a mask, and nothing happens. I mean, you just show to the police or to whoever asks you for this, and it will be fine. It is the same if you travel between cities. I mean, I can't travel from Malaga to Seville because I go for business, so I have my documents and my certification for that. But I think Manolo mentioned that before, and you won't find plenty of control here in Spain, not really. I mean, yes, if you go by train with a high-speed train from Cordoba to Seville or from Madrid to Malaga, and then at the end, when you get to the railway station, the police is going to be there and asking you what's the purpose of your visit.
Okay, and that brings me to another question, which Helen Nelson has asked, again with you, if I can, to Antonio. Do you have to stay in Malaga province?
Well, if
not
you
Malaga,
are
Andalusia, sorry. Do you have to stay within? You do.
If you are a traveler, a tourist, a visitor, I mean, the regulation says that you cannot travel from one city to the other. But again, I mean, this is up to you. It depends what happened with the police. You can find. They tell you what's the purpose of the visit, but you may go back to the place that you enter. I would say. I mean, if you arrive to Seville or you arrive to Malaga, you're supposed to be there. But again, this is very confusing because every time all the measures and regulations are changing day by day, and from 9th May, we will learn again new rules, and this is going to be local ones. So there's no curfew. I mean, it's confusing even by us that we are running this tourism body, and but yes, I mean, I mean, if us as Andalusian or Spaniards cannot travel as a normal citizen, I guess, and I believe that a tourist cannot do the same.
Okay, I'm going to pass this one to Daniel because it might be easy for you to ask and answer, Antonio, but I think I just want to pass the questions around a little bit. So, Daniel, one of the agents, Steve McDowell, asks, he's got customers who fly into Faro and then travel across to Huelva for their holidays. Is this still likely to be possible if they drive across? Sorry, Daniel, I'm going to stop you because your sound. Yeah. Go again.
Sorry again. Well, at the moment, the border is closed at the moment. It's possible, but even this is possible to close if you have a certificate that you are for work or you have probably a reservation. What happens now? Our hotels in the coast are closed, all of them. From Ayamonte to Matalascaña, then it's not possible to stay there, and the authorities know that all this offer is absolutely closed. But this will be open for next time. Anything. The border should be closed till I think that 16th of May, perhaps, more or less, 9th of May, 16th of May, no later, and then you can cross with no problem. But actually, even the border is closed, and you have a reservation or you have a work certificate, you can cross with no problem and with authorities.
Okay, thank you very much for that. That's I'm going to ask Manuel, please. If you enter Malaga, Jacqueline Brady asks this. If you enter Malaga, are you allowed to go to stay in two places? I.e., can you stay in Seville in a hotel and then go to Malaga in a hotel without? Or is there a radius beyond which you can't travel?
I have guests in the hotel every day. Not a lot, but someone who did arrive to the Malaga airport, and they rent the car and they are traveling around Andalusia every day. People from Europe. Yeah. I don't know if they have a reason or a certification or not, but they are doing.
Okay. Well, I think there are more questions, everyone, and I think it's probably best if I pass those on to everyone separately after the webinar, because we're coming up against our time at the moment. I'd like to ask, in terms of our wonderful fam trip places that we have up for on offer, two of which are possible to win now. So I'd like to invite Andalusia's marketing representative to the UK and Irish markets, Cristina Fuentes, to join us. She's going to tell us all about this brilliant trip and how and to announce the competition question and how agents can win. Welcome, Cristina.
Hello, welcome. Well, first, thanks everyone for taking part today. And of course, Travel Bulletin and the Spanish Tourism Board to make this possible. And Antonio and myself, we are so happy from the Andalusian Tourism Board to organize a fantastic fun trip for you to keep on learning and experience a still lovely Andalusia. So, details of this prize fun trip is, as you said before, Simon, is a 3-day trip, including flight, accommodation in a 4-star hotel, meals and visits included. We will keep on working on it, and we will be close to the winners to contact and let them know a little bit more later on along the year when it's possible. So now the question is, in which city was Picasso born?
Okay, so you have to answer via the chat function, and please answer via the chat function now. And the question is, in which city was Picasso born? Oh my goodness, they're coming in crazy numbers. That's great. Just so that I can just ask you a little bit while they're all coming in, Cristina. Do you have an idea of the itinerary that you may be offering to agents on this trip?
Well, yes, we will check how regulations and things going on, but of course going through any of our international airports, to be Seville, Malaga, Jerez, and then keep on discovering and let them know unhidden places. So we will be taking care of them in a wonderful accommodation and hotels, probably new, that they never been there. And by Beltran and Daniel and Manuel, we will have good advices and tips to organize a wonderful trip and experience in Andalusia.
Well, it looks wonderful. I've now got more answers than I could shake a stick at. So I've asked my colleague to send me the winners, and just so that everyone knows, it isn't me who collects them or picks them. So my colleague has picked out 2 immediate winners for this wonderful trip, and the 2 people going on a fantastic trip to Andalusia are Andy McCulloch and Rosanna Melarani. Andy McCulloch and Rosanna Melarani. Well done to both of you. That's fantastic. You're on an amazing trip to Andalusia. Many congratulations to those lucky winners. If you haven't won, then don't despair. There are 3 more fam trip places also up for grabs. All you need to do at the end of this webinar is go to travelbulletin.co.uk/Andalusia webinar competition and answer 2 different questions. You have until Monday, the 26th of April at 4 p.m. to put your answers in, and you could be joining those 2 lucky winners on that wonderful trip. Just so that you know, there's not only the 5 winners that we've got as a result of this webinar, there will be a competition taking place on our website over the coming weeks, which will also have 5 more winners. So there'll be 10 people in total joining Christina, if Christina's going. I don't know whether Christina is hosting personally, but if she is, then they'll be joining Christina on a wonderful trip to Andalusia. So I'm sure you'll agree. We've learned an awful lot. We've come to the end of this Andalusia Live webinar. If you do want to watch it again to recap on any of the information, it will be viewable tomorrow. One of the things that I've been asked, or I've been sent messages about throughout this, and I know you can't answer this, so this is purely so that I can recognize those many comments that I've been sent, is that everyone is very keen, Antonio, and extremely keen to find out, as the situation develops with regards to the 9th of May, how that will then alter. Obviously, we'd be delighted to be part of it, but it's up to you. If we can help get that message across again, then sure. Obviously, I know that all the people that will be on the list that you're sent of all the people who've taken part would be delighted to know an update when you have it in terms of Andalusia and the 9th of May. Thank you again to all of our panelists. I want to, it's been really good. I'm amazed the technology, especially where Beltran with his flamingos is concerned, has worked so well. So thank you very much. Thank you very much to Javier, to Antonio, to Jesus, to Daniel, to Manuel, Christina, and to Beltran, of course. Please give the agents a wonderful goodbye wave if you can.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to you. Thanks to you.
Thank you, Javier. Thank you, everyone. And hopefully we'll see you all again soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Simon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody. Take care of yourselves.
Bye-bye.
See you next.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you, Simon.
Okay. Bye.